And that report there from over the week was by our correspondent live from Borno, Maiduguri, Umaru Kirawa, who joins us now to discuss the details about the report. Umaru, thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin by unpacking some of what you uncovered by putting together this report. What is the current amount or current estimate of the Almajiri population across the northern states? I would like for you, I know a number, it might be a bit difficult, but how many persons are we looking at this region?
Yes. Based on the statistics so far, after 800,000 out-of-school children who are gallivanting the streets of Maiduguri and other parts of the city. However, the unofficial figure will be more than that, because even the statistics of the out-of-school children, no one can give you accurate statistics of the out-of-school children, because when I had a discussion with an expert who is a leader and he has a Sangaya, he was telling me that the official figures is not up to 5% of the out-of-school children as claimed by the government. However, much really need to be done in addressing some of the problems, particularly of the out-of-school children, so as to avert future disaster or future catastrophe by these children who are in a very sorry state, and the condition they are, the lack of food, they beg, and so on and so forth. So the Nigerian government really need to match what with action by actually taking into consideration the Almajiri, and of course holding their parents accountable to the needs and yearnings of their children.
So Umaru, could you also shed some light on the historic roots of the Almajiri system? I'm hoping that you were able to gather some information about that. Where did the practice really originate from, and how has it evolved over time?
Well, the Almajiri system has been an established system of Islamic learning. If we could know, Borno has more than 1,000 years of history, and the Almajiri system has been one of the excellent means where children get education from teachers, and the Almajiri system has both boarding and then day. There are some children who are staying in their homes, their parents' home, and they will be going to the Sangaya, they will be learning, and they will be going back home. While others, they stay at the schools, learning schools. However, with the gradual change in the system, people used this means to give birth unnecessarily, and then bring their children to Borno, claiming that they want their children to learn Islam, to learn Quran, and so on and so forth. And at the end, they are not taking care of their feeding, their clothing, their health, and so on and so forth. So it was along the line that the thing deteriorated, which actually require government intervention.
Right. Kira, I'm very intrigued. I mean, child neglect is one thing that has gone overlooked and underreported in Nigeria. But the National Assembly seems to believe that addressing the issues surrounding the Almajiri population will best address the regional insecurity, especially in Borno State. Can you help in linking the two? Like, in reporting this, and with your, you being on ground there in Borno and reporting, do you see an interrelationship between the two, Almajiri population and the regional insecurity?
Well, they are connected, because leaving these children on the streets gallivanting, it's a national security issue, it's a national security concern. However, if the Nigerian government will match what will action by saying that they will include the catering of these children in the 2025, if peradventure they are serious on it, I think it will go a long way in addressing most of the problems of northern Nigeria, and by extension Nigeria, Because, for instance, I have this idea. For yesteryears, I've been sharing with people that if truly the Nigerian government wants to solve this problem, there are two ways about it. One, we have the state government, particularly Borno state government, has established vocational training centers. The government can enroll these children into these vocational training centers, engage them in various skills. For instance, we can engage some in carpentry and joinery, welding and fabrication, painting and decoration, computer craft studies, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. And these children, if empowered with skills as well as the knowledge that they are acquiring, I think it will go a long way in addressing most of the problem. And this will also help in boosting the GDP of the country, as well as providing employment opportunity for many. But if the Nigerian government failed to engage these children, then I'm sorry, the future is something else.
We always talk about reformation, right? Reformation, rehabilitation, investment, and all of that. But besides the federal government and the local government and, and now the National Assembly, what else, who else is missing in terms of stakeholders when it comes to the Almajiri population?
I think one missing link is the traditional institution, as well as the parents too. When we get policies, we get the policy, and those engaged, those that have direct bearing on the policy are not engaged, then both natural, that policy will certainly, it will not see the light of the day. However, when we engage the traditional institution, because they are much more closer to the people, particularly in northern Nigeria, they are considered they are considered the leaders of the society. They are considered those that hold the culture, the rich tradition of the people, and they have much say on the people. So if the Nigerian government can engage the traditional institution, give them role, that is one major aspect that that is one major aspect that the Nigerian government is failing to understand. Unless we engage those people that are much more closer to the people, then both natural, you will keep pumping money, you will keep giving funds, but it won't see the light of the day. And the parents too, there is need for reorientation, social reorientation. And if that aspect failed, I think if the ideological state apparatus of convincing and persuading the parents fails, then both natural, the government can apply the use of force to give maybe parents a penalty if they could not take good care of their parents. But the unfortunate part of it is even the nation as a whole, we do not even know the total number of people in the country up to now.
Right.
Census has yes.
Kirawa, I'm very intrigued, right? And hopefully you can help me to help help me with this. A significant fund will now be allocated to Almajiri education for the 2025 budget. This is what they're proposing. One question here is transparency, but second is implementation and the Almajiri population, going according, because there's one thing that, they've been in the news. I think it was one time in Kaduna, the Kaduna state government, that was during the Rafai tenure, took the Almajiri children out of there and they took them to where they were from, and they came back into the state capital, Kaduna State. And so if this is going to be implemented, do you see a situation where the children will accept this education and integrate into the educational system properly?
Most certainly, they are children. It's what you show them that they will learn, or what you give them that they will. They are on the streets. They are begging. Some of them who have mind, they are hawking. Some of them sell sachets of water. Some of them sell this. Some of them beg. Some of them steal. Some of them. So if the Nigerian government is really, if there is that political will, the issue of street children, the issue of out-of-school children, addressing it is feasible. The Nigerian government can do it. It's doable. We have all the structures. we have all the policy. They have the Almajiri, for instance, in Borno State, they have the Almajiri and Sangaya board. So there are structures, but I mean, the political will need to be reinforced, and the Nigerian government needs to prioritize. There is misplacement of priority. That is the major problem, and sometimes siphoning of funds and corruption.
Yeah.
Because even during the Goodluck era, there are so many initiatives on the Almajiri. They have constructed buildings, I mean, in a lot of northern states. But it's just news now. It's just there in the books of history. And children are still on the streets, begging, hawking. And if care is not taken, if the Nigerian government is not conscious to the needs and aspirations of the populace, the future, I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but the future is going to be a disaster. Because we can't control them. We can easily control the children now. We can empower them, we can teach them, we can give them skills. We can teach them different vocational training skills so that they can earn a means of livelihood, since education is compulsory and free. Even during the universal basic education, universal primary education, now universal basic education, and so on and so forth. These are policies on paper. So the Nigerian government really needs to stay on toes, to actually deliver on its mandate of securing lives and properties and providing welfare to the people, to the citizenry.
Kirawa, I've got one question, and it's a very curious one regarding why Borno seems to be a center for the Almajiris. Is it just Borno, or are there other states that still grapple with this issue? And the responsibility of the state government from before, not just now, what has it been leading up to this decision that's been made?
Well, the situation is not limited to Borno alone, and it might interest you to know that it's not limited to northern Nigeria. Even in southern part of Nigeria, it's there. It's just that the nomenclature is different. When I spoke with a professor of political science, he was telling me that in northern Nigeria, mostly we see children, male children on the street. They're out of the street. But if you go to southern part of Nigeria too, you will see they are mostly women. They are girls that are on the street. So the problem is not limited to northern Nigeria alone. It's a Nigerian issue, and it needs a Nigerian solution so that we'll get it right this time around.
And the state responsibility, what has the state government done since from before? Or have they taken this as a perhaps maybe a responsibility for them to take them out of the streets, perhaps maybe into infrastructure that could cater for them? Or are they just letting them be there out on the streets?
And the state government, from what we are seeing, the state government, what it did, particularly that of Borno State, it was able to establish.
We seem to have lost Umaru there. We'll try to make, which we seem to have lost him there. But we still have him come in for our next segment, which is going to be the big story. And this time it will be on the flooding in Maiduguri, Borno State. Umaru Kirawa is our correspondent live there, and was just giving us some insightful responses regarding the 2025 budget allocation. Significant funds have now, they have now said will be allocated to focus on Almajiri education.